Well, season 15 of the 2025-2026 Autobahn Sportscar Challenge continues as we have moved from continental Europe and Spain to Indianapolis, the infamous Indianapolis Motor Speedway known as the Brickyard, which is at current way things stand the second ever oldest purpose-built motor racing facility, second after Brooklands and just ahead of a little place called the Temple of Speed in Monza. We're now here for round 10 of the series as we're getting down towards the title pushes in the respective classes. Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the JP Broadcasting Network. And up here, overlooking the start-finish straights in the broadcast booth, is Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Murphy as we are underway with the final 4 minutes of timed qualifying GTP currently out on the circuit. So we'll be heading in a couple of weeks' time on the 2nd of March to the penultimate round of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge Endurance Cup, which will be at Sebring. The Hockenheim Ring in the Baden-Württemberg region of Bavaria in Germany hosts round number 12 on March 16th. Motorland Aragon will see the penultimate trip on our last dash here in Europe to Motorland Aragon in Spain, and then on April the 13th, the final rounds of respectively the Sports Car Challenge and the Endurance Cup will culminate in a wonderful 90-minute endurance encounter at the famed circuit located in the Ardennes Forest of Belgium, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Now, with that in mind, let's take you through the current standings as they are in the respective classes. Nathan Dowd, who we see out on track at the moment in the Sector 5 provided by Haley Agency Cadillac V Series R, is leading the way on 227 points after the initial drop scores. Brandon Wilson from Hyperion Racing, who is unavailable tonight, is only 8 points behind. Dominic Dernberg is a further 8 points behind on 210, and it will be between Dowd and Dernberg as to who may be leading the series heading into Sebring in Florida in just 2 weeks' time. Pat Pelchat, who we've not seen for quite a while, is since Road America at round 6, fourth in the standings on 191, and Harrison Higgins rounds out your top 5 on 170 points. LMP2, Kadin Richardson has a comfortable lead of 50 points over Walker Carroll from Fury Simsport. Mo Islam from Composite Performance rounds out your top 3 on 168. And with it, we've had wins being split between the top 3. Kadin Richardson last winning at Portimao amid that big deluge. Mo Islam, amidst the madness and the chaos at Bathurst in New South Wales, Australia, took the win. And then at Jerez, it was the turn of Fury Simsports, Walker Carroll. Robert Tinsey, who's currently skiing at the moment because his daughter's on midwinter break, is fourth in the series on 166 points. Matthew Denise, who we haven't seen since Road America, rounds out the top 5 in the standings. GTD, Robert Cast from Fury Simsport via the way of GT Dynamics leads the way on 224 points in the GTD class, 7 ahead of Carter Kundiger. Carter also has been missing in action, not just for last time out at Jerez, but has already said that he is not available this week either. Bradley Haley is third in the Sector 5 provided by Haley Agency Ford Mustang on 209 points. Brian Bennett rounds out fourth in the series ahead of Jason Kinger from Solpec Precision Racing. Then we go to the GTD AM division, and it's very, very close at the top between the top 2 drivers. Well, Paul Slavonic, new job for him, so he is unavailable. He's currently on 219 points, but it is the charging Portuguese man of war, Samuel de Oliveira, in the wonderful milk matcha Ford Mustang, the privateer, running on 210 points. David Fernandez still holds on to third position, including a drop score, but Chris Sherburn could move up to third in the standings, and maybe even Dale Green might move ahead of him as well at the points. Rich Minkler rounds out your top 6 And then we go to the team standings. Fury SimSport currently on 2,340 points ahead of Composite Performance on 2,253. Sector 5 provided by Haley Agency have been making some strides forward and round out third on 2,088 points. Solpec Precision Racing fourth, Sector 5 Black fifth, and Satellite Racing rounding out the end of the grid. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, qualifying has been completed here at the Brickyard, and it's my pleasure to welcome back into the booth alongside me for the next 60 minutes plus the post-race interview show. A very good evening, Chris Murphy. Chris, good to have you back in the booth. The Brickyard, it needs no introduction, my friend.
Oh, good evening. Actually, good morning, Alex. Good to see you again. It's been a few days since we've been together, but actually, we finally come to a racetrack that I have actually been to. I've been to Indianapolis. Of course, I was probably 30 years ago at that point, but it's just wonderful to be back in the States, and it looks like we got some good weather. We've had some questionable weather off and on, but look, if you look at this view right now, you see that little circle track up there, and what's turn 3 of the circle of the Indy track, little dirt track up there. They run a big midget race there every year, which is a lot of fun. So maybe we'll get a chance to watch that one of these days together. But happy to be here, Alex. Looking forward to the rest of the season with Autobahn, and looking forward to a good show tonight.
Yes, indeed. The road course variant of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This has been in use since 2014, measures just over 2.43 miles, 14 turns. It has a combination of tarmac, well, asphalt and brick. Obviously, there has been some recent uprooting of older bricks down at the lower foundations of the Brickyard back from about 100 years ago. The current race lap record, which we are about with the GTP's 7 seconds off, set by none other than NTT IndyCar Series multi-time champion Joseph Newgarden, which was 109.388. But looking at things as they stand with regard, I'm now going to have a look through the annals of history to see which has been the quickest of the GTPs around this. So the quickest car around this, LMDH, Matt Campbell, and this was on the IMSA Battle of the Bricks back in 2023. That was a 1 minute 15.524. Matt Campbell, no stranger to being a Porsche Works driver, but we have a grid to get through. And it is going to be Nathan Dowd that is going to start from pole position. Dominic Dernberg will be alongside on the front row. 2 GTPs tonight. 3 LMP2s. Kadin Richardson takes pole position ahead of Fury SimSports Walker Carroll. Mo Islam from Composite Performances rounds out the overall top 5, completing the LMP2 grid. Only 2 in the GTD class. Robert Cast in the number 42. Aston Martin will be ahead of Sector 5, provided by Haley Agency's Mustang of the 428 of Bradley Haley. Then we go to the last 5 cars on the grid, all GTD AMs, and it's Mark Kudrowski in the 00 Ford Mustang that takes pole position. Not by much, though, by about half a tenth ahead of the man who more than likely, depending on the results tonight, will be leading the GTD AM series into Sebring in 2 weeks. Samuel de Oliveira in the 522 Ford Mustang. Rich Minkler in the 908 Porsche 992.1 GT3R. And then we've got Chris Sherburn in the other of the Acura NSX GT3, the Gone Broke Racing 007. With that number, he should really be running an Aston Martin, in my honest opinion. And then we got the Yellow Submarine bringing up the rear of the field, the 979 of Dale Green and his Aston Martin V8 Vantage GT3 ready to go racing. Just waiting for our GTPs, a couple of the LMP2s, a couple of the GTDs overall, but nevertheless, looking at the air and track temperatures, 18.3 degrees air, 18.3 degrees track in terms of the temperature. So converting that, that's about 64 degrees Fahrenheit for both. But we are going to see speeds, especially with the GTPs here, Chris, rocketing quite close to that 200-mile-an-hour mark, especially coming down the long start-finish stretch out of turn number 14.
Yeah, I'd expect high speeds down into turn 1, and then that really hard right-hand turn at turn 1 to get in the car, using a lot of brake down there, but going to be some big speeds there from the GTP cars. That's going to be the biggest opportunity pass, biggest opportunity to pass is going to be into turn number 1 and number 7. Both couple long straightaways, both hard turns coming up, hard left there at turn number 7. So going to see who can brave the speeds down these 2 long straightaways into those tight corners. I think Nathan Dowd's going to look pretty strong here. Let's see if Dominic Dornberg can hang on to him in that GTP class. But Caden Richardson also going to look pretty strong there in the LMP too. So let's see who can make their way around Indy. And is the sun coming up or going down? I'm not sure what time of day it is here.
Yeah, it looks like it's starting to set, which, well, I can see by Robert Cast's number 42 Aston Martin that the headlights are ablaze on the GTD. So I think we might be going closer and closer to darkness. Yeah, it looks like it is sunset. In progress. There is the number 42 running in the GT Dynamics livery. Obviously, we did see that car in the wonderful Marlboro McLaren colours back from the late 80s and the early to mid 90s in Formula One with the Woking squad. These days now running in papaya orange. Of course, really excited that we're going to see the hypercars or GTPs hopefully coming through from McLaren and from Dearborn's finest. Michigan will be staking their claim with an all-new hypercar coming in the 2027 season of sports car racing. It's a big time for sports car manufacturers. I mean, when you think about it, you see Ferrari with GT3 and LMDH or LMH. And we're going to see the same from Ford. There are a couple of cars that are going to be going, which also now unfortunately means that there's been recent news that the Alpine hypercar project, as of the end of 2026, will unfortunately be no more. Another big brand, but obviously Alpine now concentrating their efforts, I think, a little bit more on the new age of Formula One, as Bahrain testing is very much underway. The first of 2 public tests have been completed before the season opener at Albert Park in Melbourne early March this year for 24 rounds of the FIA Formula One World Championship. So it looks like it is going to be a full pace lap. Partially cloudy in the skies up above as the pace car will pull away and lead our field around this particular circuit. A lot of history, but has provided with IndyCar in previous years a lot of close action. Yes, we've got 12 cars on the grid tonight, folks, but nevertheless, we know, Chris, that it doesn't always matter about the amount of drivers and cars that are on the grid. It's always about how the driving standards dictate the pace of the race.
Yeah, we've seen some really exciting races with few cars on the racetrack. You know, I expect Dowd and Dornberg to stay pretty close to each other, so that GTP race could come down to the end here. But yeah, it really doesn't seem to make a difference. It's going to dry weather here in Indy. It would be a little interesting if some weather came into play, but definitely going to be an interesting one. Let's see if Cass can outrun Haley. I expect Bradley's got his hands full if he's going to keep up with Robert Cass. Robert has looked really strong the last few weeks in the GTD. So we'll see how this shakes out here, but I think most of the excitement we're going to see tonight is going to be in the GT AM class. We got 5 cars in that class, and most of those guys have been pretty competitive together. So watch the battle between Kudrowski and De Oliveira.
I think the thing is, I'm looking forward to the battle between Haley and De Oliveira, GTD versus GTD AM, a couple of rounds this year. Actually, most notably, I think it was Mount Panorama that, Samuel De Oliveira was either in the wheel tracks of or getting past Bradley Haley at certain points at that fantastic circuit, which obviously the Liquid Moly Bathurst 12 Hours has just taken place. Real shame about the incident that occurred in the S's with Ralph Aaron and a certain Mr. Hitzinger in the Porsche that was that had been turned around, and get well soon to both of them. Obviously, Ralph Aaron, for many a year, a feeder series single-seater driver, now has moved into sports cars. He's got 2 fractures in his back, but he's all good. He's fine. He's made a very public and very professional statement about the situation that occurred. There has been very separated opinions about what happened. And I think if someone as young as him can put out such a professional statement, it shows that motorsport drivers are a very, very capable bunch. But here we go. We are getting towards the end of the 2.4-mile circuit here at the Brickyard, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, now owned by the Penske Entertainment Corporation, led by the captain himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Roger Penske. But this is where we see the pace car pulls into pit road. We are ready for this round of the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge. We're ready for 60 minutes here at Indianapolis as round 10 is about to go to green here at the Brickyard, and already Nathan Dowd punches the throttle to the floor. Green flag in the air. We're underway for 60 minutes, and a good start by Dowd. Dornberg in his wheel tracks. It's side by side between Kadeen Richardson and Walker Carroll for the lead in LMP2, as Robert Cast and Bradley Haley will bring us to green in GTD and GTD AM. They will now start, and good start by Robert Cast. He got an absolute flyer. Bradley Haley a little bit further back, but it could be nearly 3 wide between the 3 Mustangs. De Oliveira right behind Haley. He's got Kudrowski to the outside of Haley through into turn 1. Can Kudrowski get it through? Yes, he can. He got through, but Bradley Haley straight away through turn 2 manages to get the cut back. And a good, solid battle between 3 of Michigan's finest on the circuit here in Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Meantime, 1.3 seconds covers the only 3 LMP2 drivers, but Nathan Dowd got the jump. Robert Cast, it's like he's been shot out of a bleeding cannon. He's 9/10 up the road as De Oliveira to the outside of Kudrowski and gets the GTD AM lead. That's a brilliant move there by the Portuguese racer.
De Oliveira to the front. We've seen him here so many times already this season. Right there behind him, Kudrowski. Oh, Oliveira off the race. Oh, we got... Looks like Minkler around in the grass. So as Kudrowski was trying to get around De Oliveira, Rich Minkler got off the track right there, spun it off into the grass area. But De Oliveira now sets his sights on that battle you were looking forward to between De Oliveira and Haley. See if we can see what happened to Minkler.
Yeah, okay. I'm wondering if we might have to rewind on this, I think, Chris, because that was just the tail end. But the good thing was Rich Minkler did not get... I'm wondering... right, okay. So if we look here, watch the left rear wheel on the grass, turns it around, go brown, clean up on aisle 3, but does not hit the barriers. So the car remains unscathed. Maybe the tyres have got a little bit of a flat spot. But now De Oliveira has started pulling away from Mark Kudrowski. Lead between the top 2 in the GTD AM division is just over a second, whereas Bradley Haley is keeping pace. Obviously, the straight line, the back stretch, and also the front stretch here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the road course configuration. It could pay to the dividends of that 5.4 litre Coyote naturally aspirated V8 engine. Of course, the GTD or GT3 car, as it's more commonly known, they actually all the engine started as a 5-litre V8 base Coyote engine, and they got shipped out over to Cockermouth in the UK, which is where Ford's rally division is being operated by Malcolm Wilson and his team, and they were charged with boring out the engines to 5.4 litres to get that little bit more of compression and also more explosive power up the rev range. And, well, De Oliveira is now 1.4 seconds up the road from Kudrowski, so he has really got his the bit between his teeth. Meantime, Nathan Dowd and Dominic Dornberg in the Cadillac and the Acura GTP cars, they are about 70% of the way through the third lap of this race, as we are 3.5 minutes down, 56.5 minutes to go. But again, we saw how dominant Nathan Dowd was at Mount Panorama a couple of rounds ago, Chris. And obviously with Brandon Wilson having not exactly the best time of it. I mean, he wrecked twice in that race, let's not forget.
Now that was one for the record books right there. We don't really see Brandon Wilson make that many mistakes, but he did there at Bathurst, and not here tonight. Dowd come home with a win there, and it looks to be in good shape. Dornberg hanging on to the back of him here, but we look right now at Bradley Haley, and Bradley's doing a great job with Robert Cass. We've seen Cass kind of drive away from Haley most of this season, but Bradley's looking really good here at Indy. I think he's got some practice laps in this week.
I think also that strong engine at the front end of that long bonnet on that car. I mean, you look at the differences in aerodynamics. You know, the Mustang's just a brick, and the Aston Martin looks like a curvaceous supermodel from Victoria's Secret, to give a comparison, if you want, figuratively. But the aerodynamics seem to be a lot more attributed to the Aston Martin. But with the Mustang, which has gone through an evolution for the 2026 season for both IMSA, WEC, and the GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS DTM. So there's been an evolution of the Mustang, and it's only going to get even more aggressive. I mean, it's like you've got the little cute poodle being chased down by the bulldog, if you will.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, that Mustang. You could actually see when we were in car there with Bradley just how much he closed up onto the back of Robert Cass down the end of that long straightaway. So definitely the horsepower of that Mustang coming into play and helping Bradley stay right there behind him. He's only about a second behind right now, so we'll see how that shakes out. As we look at our favorite, Dale Green in the yellow submarine, holding on here. He's searching, stalking Chris Sherburne here for that third spot in the GTD-AM class. So let's see if Dale can hang on here. He's had a couple good runs here of late, so let's see what he can do here today.
Well, let's not forget, that man has actually secured two third-place finishes, so 2 podiums for Dale Green in the 979 race car voiture de course, or basically voiture de course is French for race car, folks. So, but race car spelt backwards is race car anyway. It's just like the first name Hannah, which has an H at the end, 2 N's in the middle, and an H at the end. You spell that backwards, it's Hannah. But he's really coming to his own a little bit as Dale Green. I mean, you look at his previous results. Dale Green, 3rd at Long Beach, 5th at Road America, 4th at the Algarve, 5th at Bathurst, 3rd at Jerez. So I think there's a possibility that Dale Green could be Chris Sherburne's biggest rival in the when it comes to the 007 Gone Broke Racing Acura NSX GT3. But looking at Bradley Haley's lap times, well, Robert Cast was half a second slower on the previous lap. He's just gone 0.3 quicker than Bradley Haley in the previous lap. 1:23.32, 0.3 quicker than Bradley Haley, 1:23.62. So this is going to be a rather spicy race, and the pace that both of them have brought to the track here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, they have cleared off into the distance. So Samuel de Oliveira is going to be running a very lonesome race. Obviously, it was great to chat with him after Jerez, where he took the victory, and he explained about the him and his wife, and about the character that is on the 522 Mustang. Obviously, we got a lot of understanding. So it just goes to show that Japanese culture is very much prevalent on race cars, especially if your name is Adley Fong and you go to the Macau Grand Prix. You go to the Macau GT World Cup and an Audi R8 with Hello Kitty on the livery, and it literally they had a merch stall in Macau just off the Circuit de Gaia, and every single day they were selling out of merch 100% because there's a lot of fans of Hello Kitty out there. Nevertheless, it's going to be a long game here. Yes, we've got 12 cars on the grid. We've mentioned that. I'm not going to repeat that too often. But it is going to be about picking your moments, especially with pit strategy, Chris, because we're now coming up to 8 minutes in. And this is where the drivers now, because everyone's got a nice little bit of real estate, it's about sort of picking your moments. But we are going to see that probably within the next 3 to 5 minutes, that Dale Green and Chris Sherburne will find themselves being lapped by both Nathan Dowd and Dominic Dernberg. Rich Minkler is already a lap down after that unfortunate spin, which was self-assisted, coming through one of the parts on the circuit, which, if I remember correctly, that would have been, I think that might have been out of turn 5 and 6, or turn 4, but he was lucky to get away with it. The 908 Porsche 992.1 GT3R did not hit the barriers, so Rich has only got his tyres flat spotted and his pride a little bit dented at the same time. But as I said, it is a case of you can get more into the flow now, and the battles will really be easier for us here in the commentary box to really concentrate on and give a full, proper analysis on it. But there we go. Nathan Dowd finally gets through on Dale Green, and then quickly, as they come down the back stretch between turns 6 and 7, that's Dowd through on Chris Sherburn, and then Dominic Dernberg, who is now nearly 2 seconds behind at the minute, has the opportunity to close in on the likes of Mark Kudrowski, who's about 2 and a bit seconds up the road, but well, actually not even that. So now, Mark Kudrowski is going to find that, yep, exit stage left, stay out of the way, let Nathan through. My battle is not with him. So this is where we hit the 10-minute mark, and more to the point, Nathan Dowd is just taking this like a cruise and a lovely little Sunday afternoon cruise in the countryside here in Indiana. As he gets through on Samuel de Oliveira, dives through at turn 1, nice and neatly expedited by both drivers. And I think that's going to be one of the things here, Chris, that whereby these drivers, they're going to have a lot more room to play with. So what we've seen in previous races where things have been a little bit tight, I mean, obviously you had Ev last time out, very, very tight, very, very technical circuit. Mount Panorama, the barriers are so close to you, you can't even have enough room to swing a black cat around a small room that's ever closing. So it's going to be about just getting into that rhythm, getting into that flow, and just making the car work with you.
Yeah, it's all about rhythm here at Indy. Of course, if you see Bradley Haley, it looks like he's found his rhythm. He's right there with Robert Cass, and that's just all about, it's all flow. Like you said, you got these 2 great big long straightaways and the technical corners, and it's just who's going to be better at each end. But right now, it looks like this battle between Cass and Haley, they're both looking really sharp on all aspects of this racetrack.
So they continue onwards as the sun lowers here at the Brickyard for this round of the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge for 2025 and 2026. A big thank you to everyone that's been watching so far, as we are currently on round 10 out of 14. 4 to go after this one, that does include the second half of the Autobahn Endurance Cup, which will take place for round 3 of which is, funny enough, coinciding with round 11 of the Sports Car Challenge, 2 weeks time on March 2nd for the 90-minute encounter at the Floridian circuit known as Sebring International Raceway. Then we do the last 3 races of the calendar. Will be heading back to continental Europe, first to Germany to Hockenheim on March 16th. 30th of May we go to Aragon, and then the 13th of April Spa-Francorchamps, which will curtail what has been a very, very long season, which started all the way back on September 22nd. So you're talking basically the best part of nearly 7 months of a calendar, which in sim racing these days, Chris, is very unheard of. You know, there's a lot of leagues that run either 8 to 12 week series, and they'll normally have a week's break, and then the next one will be around as quick as you know it, and then they're able to run 3 seasons in a full calendar year.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Just how actually we were talking about that pre-show. This is a really long season for sure with Autobahn. Most of the season, most of the leagues we cover will run like the 12-week season with iRacing and take that 13th week off.
Yeah. Now, also, the funny thing is that some of the drivers that we do have here have links with the Sim Racing Republic Sports Car Championship presented by Ardox, which Walker Carroll competes in the LMP2 division. We've also had some of Robert Carster's teammates from GT Dynamics, such as Ross Booth and Skylar Davis, run in the GT3 Pro side of things. So there's a lot of crossover. That a lot of these leagues find that these longer calendars are quite advantageous. I mean, the sports car, the Sim Racing Republic Sports Car Championship and the GT Open series they run more on a traditional, like say once every month sort of calendar. So they run for like 5 or 6 rounds over a 6-month period. But when you're battling away every fortnight, you've got to be a little bit more on your game, haven't you, Chris? Because there's sometimes there'll be a lot more preparation when you got two races within a month, and then you've got everything else that you're doing in your sim racing, such as team meetings, setting up cars ready for respective races that are coming up, where you're deciding to race, which platforms you're going to be racing on. It can be quite confusing at times for these drivers, but there's a lot of squads out there that are very, very professionally organized in the world of sim racing.
Yeah, it's kind of the mix of good and bad here with the way the season spread out. A couple weeks off here and there, a week off between just about all the races. But it gives you that chance to get out there and get a lot of practice laps in. But also, like you said, sometimes it kind of takes you out of it. You kind of get on doing other things. There's so much stuff going on in the iRacing world. There's so many official races and other leagues and big events going on from iRacing that you kind of forget. And you got to get back, and maybe some of these guys are probably just got out here and practice for the first time tonight.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I mean, in the general chat on the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge Series Discord, Robert Cast tagged Carter Kundinger. Carter, I hope you're back next time. We both hope you're back next time for Sebring for 90 minutes. He went, Carter, 0x, question mark, can I do it? History says no. That's like Little Britain with, yeah, what is it? Yeah, with Matt Lucas and David Walliams. Computer says no. Back in the day, and I think it is sometimes good where some drivers like these longer championships, because as you said, there is just so much going on, and there are a lot of unsung heroes within the sim racing industry, and that's nothing against the drivers at all. It's like in real life motorsport. There are the people that run the teams. There are the people that are the admins for the teams who help strategize on where they're going to be racing, who they're racing against, what tracks they're running at. Then you got all the people who are like data engineers, setup specialists, and all that kind of stuff. There is just so much that goes on, and especially when the amount of leagues that we have in sim racing. I mean, we just recently had VCO Infinity, the concept, the Madman concept, and I have to give a good shout out to this man who's head of the VCO Virtual Competition Organization based out of Munich. My good friend, long-time good friend, who I first met in DTM back in the early 2010s, Florian Hasper, where they have 24 races over 24 hours. 5 different cars, sometimes randomized tracks. So good to see that VCO Infinity is carrying on and still continues to entertain in a very refreshing format. And it's something that, if you had 24 races in 24 hours in real life, you could not do it where you have to go to the tracks. You have to have 5 different cars at your disposal in the same team livery. In sim racing, it just goes to show that there is so much that is possible in this genre of motorsports, and that's what I love about the variety of sim racing. We see so many different characters, so many different personalities, and so much great racing. As once again, still in GTD, I'm wondering if with Robert Cast and Bradley Haley, it might be that Haley might decide to overcut Robert Cast given the opportunity, because sometimes it's a case of when you've got only 2 cars in the class, the same as we've got with the GTP. It always seems to be the leader's prerogative to decide when they're going to dive in, and then you see the second car act accordingly that is behind them.
Yeah, and let's see how that plays out. He could undercut. The overcut might work, but also undercut could work. Let's see if he can come into the pits here, and we're 41 minutes left to go in this race, so we're probably about 10 minutes away from any pit stops. But we could see Haley with a little bit different strategy. He's got some really good pace, and probably the best pace we've seen out of Haley in quite a few weeks. I don't expect Robert Cass expected to have Haley in his mirror for this entire race like he has.
Well, if he starts panicking, his 0x will definitely show the history books that it won't happen again.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, Robert, stay on your marks, stay on your lines, my good friend. Don't overpush it. As we now see that there has been a change, and there's been a big change in the LMP2 division because Kadeem Richardson is now third in LMP2. He is behind Mo Islam in the 91 composite performances, Dallara P217, and Walker Carroll is 3.5 seconds up the road. So Walker Carroll looking for what will be, if I remember correctly, I'll just refresh my memory. Walker Carroll is looking for a second win on the bounce. Now, bearing in mind, Kadeem Richardson had done the three-peat, Daytona, Road Atlanta, and then Motegi. His next win was at round 5 at Long Beach on the 24th of November when we came back into 2026 with the series at the Algarve. Kadeem Richardson not only took the win, got fastest lap and pole position. Walker Carroll equalled that feat at round 9 at Jerez 2 weeks ago. And the only person that has done a complete Grand Chelem, as they call it, 0x, fastest lap, pole position, and that was Matt Brewer, who got a maximum score. You can gain 29 points if you get the full score across the doors. Looking at GTP, no one at this moment has done a full clean sweep. LMP2, like I said, Matt Brewer, another one of the Hyperion Racing drivers, also races in the Sim Racing Republic Sportscar Championship. The only person to do it in GTD is a man that is not here. Carter Kundinger did the clean sweep at the opener at Daytona in GTD. GTD AM. One person has done it. That man is also not here, Paul Slavonic. And he had an absolute nightmare at the Algarve because I remember he went off backwards. The Acura took a big hit into the wall, and the rear end needed a lot of TLC to get it back to full fighting fitness, but he still managed to get the car back out onto the circuit. So we are 21.5 minutes in, as Kadeem Richardson now finally gets back through on Mo Islam. And looking at the pace that Kadeem Richardson has got at them, oh, now that was a little bit cheeky. He jumped over the curbs there. That was a bit of a turbo boost, Knight Rider style there, coming out of turn 6. But he manages to get through on Mo Islam, but he's got to find 4 seconds. At least at this point in the race here, Chris, Kadeem has got plenty of opportunity as we check out the replay. Down the start-finish straight into turn number 1. Kadeem Richardson pulls to the right-hand side at the last moment possible and slingshots through. Easy job done. Not made difficult by Mo Islam, who knew it was coming, didn't fight it because he... Oh, hang on a second. Mo Islam just went straight... Oh, he's gone into the pits.
I saw the same thing.
I was like thinking, did he just go off? But no, he has gone into the pits. We've had our first track limit slowdown penalty of the night. Dale Green in the 979 Yellow Submarine, who is being caught, I must hasten to add, by Rich Minkler. The gap was about 8 seconds. It is now 3 because Rich Minkler has been taking quite a bit of chunk of time every lap, anywhere between 3 to half a second, 3/10 to half a second out of the 979 Voiture de Course, the Yellow Submarine as we call it. But now Bradley Haley is really motoring. He just took over a quarter of a second out of Robert Cast. So Cast, I'm not too sure if he's starting to struggle, but Bradley Haley, that Stang is really firing on all 90-degree banked V8 cylinders in that Coyote engine. He is closing the gap, and it's the closest it's been for quite a while.
Yeah, Haley is filling up the mirror of Robert Cast right now, but Robert not been shaken. but he is also not getting away from Bradley Haley. So Bradley just right there in the tire tracks, and you can see it on a few different corners here. Bradley taking just a little bit different line, and I think he might have a shot here heading down the front straightaway into turn number 1. He is tucked up right in the back of Cash. He's going to look down to the inside. He is going to have a run into turn number 1, and we're going to have a new leader in the GTD class here as Haley looks to take the lead from Cass. Can he hold it through this first couple of corners? Oh, Cass back on the outside. Side by side through the first 3 corners here.
Bradley Haley to the inside at 3, and he is through by a whisker. Great work by both drivers. Bradley Haley in the Sector 5, provided by Haley Agency Ford Mustang. The 428 now overtakes the number 42 of Robert Cast from Fury Simsport via way of GT Dynamics. And it took 25 minutes for Bradley Haley to finally break through the stronghold by the Aston Martin. However, this is going to be our closest race of tonight's proceedings here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 25 minutes down, 35 minutes to go as we continue with live coverage here on JP Broadcasting for the 10th round of the 2025-2026 Autobahn Sportscar Challenge here from the virtual recreation of the road course at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Great angle we've got here on the left rear quarter of Bradley Haley's Ford Mustang as they come out of turn number 14 onto the slight banking, now down the start-finish stretch. And Robert Cast is about 3.5 tenths of a second. That gap is closing as they head down into turn number 1. They start their 19th lap. And there we see our GTP cars in the background. So at the moment, up until Robert Cast and Bradley Haley have been lapped so far. But as I said earlier here, Chris, this is where, with the amount of cars that we've got on the field here tonight at Indianapolis, it has really allowed everyone, you know, the racing that we're seeing, and especially between these two here, has been a lot calmer, a lot easier for the drivers to digest and to get into that flow. But I'm going to be rather interested to see if that 21.25 second pit stop for Mo Islam will get him to the end of the race. That's going to be the big question with regards to the Canadian driver for composite performances in the 91, who rounds out the 3 strong in LMP2.
Yeah, that seemed like kind of an early pit stop there for Mo. We're usually seeing most of these cars go to about halfway, so it's either one or the other. It's either he's running short on fuel, or he is confident he can make it to the end from here, because you definitely don't want to have to stop twice. That'll really set you back. But Mo with an early pit stop, I don't really see. I'm looking at some of the last lap times, and I don't really see where that's helped him gain any more on Kadeen. As a matter of fact, the last lap was about 7 tenths of a second slower. So we're going to see how this plays out for Mo Islam. That's probably one of the earliest pit stops we've seen all season in these 60-minute races.
Yeah, I definitely concur on that one, as we see Mo, who is currently now 1 minute behind Walker Carroll, who continues to have a lead of around 4.6 seconds over points leader Kadeen Richardson. So Kadeen, the only driver to in the LMP2 division to have multiple wins back-to-back. So that was the first 3 rounds. As I said earlier, the season opener at Daytona Daytona, and then we had Road Atlanta, then we had Twin Ring Motegi. Meantime, Robert Cast is not letting Bradley Haley get away. Now this is a very, very good sign that there will be pendulum swings between these two, and you can see how very, very close in terms of overall race pace that the pair are. So that's a good thing for the GTD Pro division. So again, as they will come out of the final corner, we ride on board on the right door of Robert Cast. Down the start-finish stretch we go across the line. They will complete their 20th lap. So a lot of mileage has already been covered, and as they head towards turn number 1, Robert Cast not quite close enough. But also one of the interesting things when we saw that contretemps between these two a couple of laps ago, Chris, that you can see that on braking, the Mustang was very, very aggressive with his nose going down and the splitter probably grazing against the tarmac, as now we see Rich Minkler, he has finally closed what was an 8.5-second gap. He might look to the inside of Dale Green very shortly. Shows his nose to the yellow submarine, decides discretion is the better part of valor on this particular occasion. So Green stays in 4th position. And Rich Minkler, oh, he's got the old martini livery on that Porsche, and everyone loves a martini livery on a Porsche, no matter whether it's a grey car, a black car, or a white car. Well played, Rich Minkler. I salute you. Chapeau.
I'm just watching this battle with Cast and Haley, and is Cast kind of just toying with Haley? He's like a cat with a little ball of yarn here, just kind of letting Haley have the lead here for a little while, and just kind of lurking behind him, just kind of, I don't know, because Robert has definitely had the better pace all season long. And unless Bradley just really, really has come accustomed to this track at Indy, we're going to see how this shakes out here. We're going to have pit stops here shortly, I'm sure, so we'll see what happens after that.
Kind of like you said about a cat with a ball of yarn. It's a bit like Garfield and Odie, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Garfield always toying with Odie. So you could probably sort of parlay that situation to what we're seeing between Bradley Haley and Robert Cast at the moment. But looking at Bradley Haley's results this season, he had a second at Daytona, a third at Road Atlanta, third at Motegi, third at Mosport, 6th at Long Beach, third at Road America, third at the Algarve, second at Bathurst, second at Jerez. So Bradley Haley, in terms of podium finishes, has been Mr. Consistency, I would say, but it has kept him in the fight for this title for the GTD division of the series. So even though he hasn't had a win to his credit, you know, you can still win a title based on the amount of points that you gather. So from that perspective, I would say that, yeah, even if Robert Cast does take the win, and he has set, and he's actually not he won't get the fastest lap point. I can tell you that now at the minute, because Bradley Haley's fastest lap was a 1:23.082. Robert Cast 7/100ths of a second slower in the Aston Martin.
And here they are making their way past Mark Kudrowski. They're putting him a lap down. And, you know, Bradley did start the season out in the GTDM, Alex, and he was graduated up to the GT. Was it after the first or second race? I don't remember which one, but
that was Brian Bennett that got.
Oh, was it Bennett?
It was Bennett, because he was running away in the Sector 5 black McLaren, and yeah, he really put the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons, so to speak. One thing that we've also got to bear in mind here is that Bradley Haley has got a drop score, whereas Robert Cast has got a 0, because he was not with us at the season opener at Daytona. And I know that Carter is looking on the live timing at the moment, and he's just responded to Robert's 0x, and he's gone, I agree with no.
Nice.
That's warning shot across the bow if ever I thought that I was going to be fired by Mr. Kundinger. But nevertheless, this is a great little battle, and I don't think it's a case of toying with Bradley Haley. If I was in Robert Cast's shoes, I think, well, let's keep this to be a nice little entertaining battle. They knew that there wasn't going to be that much competition on the grid tonight, but they're making up for it, and that's the sign of a good pair of racing drivers that know what they're doing.
Yeah, you know, 2 cars on the racetrack, and they are putting on a show for us here with Bradley and in at least 2 cars in the GTD class, and they're putting on a good race right here between the two of them. Swap the lead back and forth, and neither one of them's really able to get away from the other. So Cast right there, about a couple car lengths back. That Mustang just looks to be really strong on the 2 long straightaways, and Robert kind of closes it up on the back of him in the kind of a technical section of the racetrack. So we're going to see how long Bradley can stay out front.
Yeah, they are quite evenly matched on their top speeds. I mean, Robert, because he's in the slipstream, is about a mile an hour quicker at just over 160. We have had our first pit stop for the drivers in both GTD and GTD AM. That is the 00 Mustang of Mark Kudrowski, who pitted on lap 21, was stationary for just under 23 seconds in his pit stall. which means that Dale Green is right with Chris Sherburn. That gap has closed significantly, and the main reason being is that Chris Sherburn's last lap was nearly a 1:25. Dale Green set his best lap of the race on lap 23, 1:24.080, and when you have a V8 versus a turbocharged V6, you have a very, very different set of circumstances when it comes to drivetrain solutions. So with regards to displacement of the engine, how many cylinders it's got, whether it's front mounted, mid mounted like in the Acura, and also rear mounted in the case of Rich Minkler, who is about a second away from this battle, which is now going to be the battle for the final stop. Right, okay, Walker Carroll has just pitted, Dominic Dernberg have just pitted at the 35-minute mark. So that is 2/3 of the LMP2 division that have now come into pit lane. Half of our GTP field, but Mark Kudrowski, the only one out of all 7 GTD cars that are out on circuit that has pitted. So whether he's going for the 3000 IQ strat here, Chris, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, we keep an eye here on this battle with Sherburn and Green. And actually, it's almost a 3-car battle with Minkler kind of lurking in the background right there. So we got a 3-car battle here for the second spot. Dale Green closing up on the back of Sherburn here in the famed yellow submarine. And they've got the leader of the race here, Dowd, coming up behind him to put him another lap down here. So let's see how Dowd is able to negotiate his way around through the lap traffic.
Yeah, and now, well, there we go. Dale Green pits, and that is going to be, I think, is that Nathan Dowd? Yes, it is. The race leader is in pit road. I'm going to be very... Oh, Dale Green, you were so close to breaking the speed limit across the line into pit road. But now that releases Chris Sherburn, who has got Rich Minkler a second behind him. So Dale Green, who was running P3 at that point. But now, as the pit stops start to circulate in the GTD side of things, this will mean that Mark Kudrowski will be able to move up the order if he can. So his last lap was a 1:24.9. Dale Green's was even though he crossed the line when he was in the pit lane, it was a 1:38.3, but the previous lap to that was a 1:24.0. Fastest out of anybody in GTD AM is Samuel de Oliveira, but it was not Samuel de Oliveira that took pole position in the class. That was Mark Kudrowski in the 00 Mustang, because we nearly had a 3-wide exchange between Messrs Kudrowski, de Oliveira and Haley on the opening lap of the race when GTD went green. And there is de Oliveira, who is on the same time zone as me. Of course, people might say, oh, when you go to Portugal, you got to, Central European time. No, it's exactly the same time zone as the United Kingdom, because it is the island that branches out to the left of the underneath Spain. So Portugal, it's always good when I speak to my Portuguese colleagues, as Robert Cast now pits. That releases Bradley Haley into the overall GTD and GTD split class lead. And now Kadeem Richardson is going to be the final of the LMP2 drivers to come in pit road. Robert Cast, 14.92 seconds in his stall on the pit lane. So a good job by him. That's a very, very good stop by the 42. And this might mean that Bradley Haley, depending on whether he is going to dive into pit road, he's got to make this lap count. So is he going to go into pit lane? Yes, he is. So this is going to be a race to see who will be leading GTD and GTD overall come the end of this particular pit stop. Bradley Haley now on the pit speed limiter as he comes down the very, very lengthy pit lane. Where is Robert Cast at the moment? He's still 50% of the way through the lap. So he will be making his way up towards turn 10. Through the chicane at 8 and 9 he goes. That'll be the right-hander coming up. So Samuel de Oliveira now is also in the pit lane. So it's through out of turn number 11. Goes Robert Cast, and then it's the short shoot up to the 90 right here at turn 12, a 90 left here at 13. So Bradley Haley, this is going to be tight on time as to the final corner.
Haley's
comes Robert Cast, 17.37. This could mean that Robert Cast will retake the race lead. Depends on how far down the pit lane. Bradley Haley will now be able to gun the throttle. And is he going to stay ahead of Robert Cast? No. Robert Cast rejoins in front of Bradley Haley, who now exits pit lane. Bradley Haley is about 0.4 of a second, so the pendulum swings in the other direction. Reference the 42 Aston Martin once again. And we've got just over 1/3 of the race remaining here, Chris, here at Indianapolis for round 10.
Yeah, you look at the pit stops, and it was 3-second difference between Cast and Haley right there. That's what gave Cast this advantage, gave him the lead back right there. But Haley's got up to speed pretty quickly and is already back on the rear spoiler here of Cast. So we've got our GTD battle still going on. And as a matter of fact, if we look down at GTDM, we've got a battle for the lead for two drivers that haven't pitted yet with Sherburne, and here comes Minkler now, going to dive down into the pit. So right now, Chris Sherburne, the only driver on the racetrack that has yet to pit.
Yep, so still a lot of racing action to happen over the next 20 minutes of this race here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for round 10 out of 14, and still the battle continues. And still, Chris Sherburne has gone so deep into the race. We're into the final 20 minutes, and I think that this could really help Chris Sherburne in many a way, as Minkler now is trundling down pit lane as we speak. So the number 908 Martini Porsche comes to his stop about just past the halfway mark, stops on its marks in the pit stall, and now they get to refuel the car. Chris Sherburne making his way through into the turn 7 to turn 10 complex, as Bradley Haley down the backstretch with Robert Cast in front in his crosshairs. Half a second up the road is the number 42 Aston Martin. So Bradley Haley, let's not forget here, folks, has been Mr. Consistency all the way through this season. I think it's only once that he hasn't been on the podium this year, but he has an opportunity to go for a win, and what a win it would be to do it here at the Brickyard. But still, can he really start to... He's going to be a little bit heavier on fuel, let's not forget, as now Chris Sherburne decides to pit from the overall GTD class lead and the lead in the GTDM, which means that Bradley Haley, Samuel de Oliveira will be ahead, but it depends on how quickly Chris Sherburne fuels up in pit road, and can he remain in front of Dale Green when the pit stop cycle is complete.
Yeah, for sure. De Oliveira is going to go back here and take the lead once he comes around here off the last couple of corners. But can Sherburne get out in front of Green? Green was right there with him before the pit stop started. So we'll see if maybe that undercut from Dale Green is going to be an advantage and put him in front of Sherburne here. As Sherburne still sitting in pit road, not moving yet. So we're going to see how this shakes out.
Yeah, coming up to 15 seconds. So Robert Cast and Bradley Haley have gotten through. Chris Sherburne, 17.35 seconds. He is now making his way out of pit lane. He has been overtaken as Samuel de Oliveira, the Portuguese man of war in the 522 Mustang, has now retaken the GTD class lead. And Chris Sherburne comes out of pit lane about 9 seconds back. And where is... Oh, no, right, that was... there's Dale Green. So Dale Green, less than 3 seconds behind, make that 2.8. And there is Mark Kudrowski. So we have got a real opportunity of... I mean, Kudrowski being the first to pit, and he put in nearly 23 seconds worth of fuel. So he has already burned through quite a big chunk of that as they keep out of the way of Mo Islam, who's going to be third at the moment in the LMP2 division. But Samuel de Oliveira, even though he's 8.8 seconds in front of Chris Sherburne, he does not want to make mistakes where he has to serve a slowdown penalty for track limits infringement. 16 3/4 minutes to go, and the Milk and Mocha Mustang continues on its merry way. And looking at the way things stand with regards to the victories that Samuel de Oliveira has had, I'm going to say that this could be a very, very defining moment for the series, because we didn't see Samuel de Oliveira at Portimao, but yes, Cadine Richardson, in 3 respective straight appearances at the beginning of the series, took wins. Samuel de Oliveira, if he finishes first in this race, that will be 4 races in a row that he has taken part in. He has got no drop scores to speak of. He will have done Road America, Mount Panorama, Jerez, and then the Brickyard in a row. And forget about the fact that he wasn't there at the Algarve. 4 wins in a row just showcases how de Oliveira has brought his A game to the series. And I think if it continues this way, this man, if Paul Slavonic does not, well, if Paul Slavonic does not turn up for most of the rest of the season, this man will become a champion of the GTD AM class with maybe, I'd say, 1 round to go.
Yeah, quite possible. There, we've only got a few races left to go, and Slavonic not being here is definitely a huge advantage to de Oliveira. And he's got that the 2 little teddy bears on the door hugging right there, and it's like we talked earlier, it's just a really good livery on Samuel's car. But he has just been dominant here as of late. Won last race out, and right now he's got a good solid 9-second lead back to Sherburne. So it is his race to lose. Just got 15 minutes, a little under 15 minutes left. Just no mistakes here, and Oliveira's going to come home with yet another victory on the season.
And before that, well, he didn't have a win in his pocket. He had 3. The funny thing is, he's had the most success when it comes to first and second places in the GTD AM division, and I think probably overall. He's had 3 second places: Road Atlanta, Motegi, and Mosport. His first race at Daytona didn't go too well because with the Autobahn Endurance Cup, it is double points because we do a 90-minute race rather than a 60-minute race. We normally will probably see 2 pit stops. He had a 6th place finish, which put him 28 points at the beginning of the series. But he has done so well. He has upped his game, even though it's the same time in the morning. It's just coming up to 3:30. UK and Portuguese time, so Greenwich Mean Time, effectively, or UTC, which is the more universal time that is called. Because some people can't be bothered to remember Greenwich Mean Time and British Summer Time, so GMT and BST, so they just put UTC, and then they confuse. And then whenever someone puts the sim racing calendar with UTC, you're like, oh, come on, just change it to BST, just change it to British Summer Time. It just makes it easier for those people that are on UK commentary time zones.
Well, just put it on Eastern Time, then we all know where it's at.
Yeah, exactly. Just put it in one universal time.
There we go.
For everybody, and it just makes things easy, because when you use multiple time zones on the calendar, that's when things get very, very confusing indeed. But still, have to say, Dale Green is keeping Mark Kudrowski very, very honest. This could be a really, really close fight for our final step on the rostrum, because let's not forget Dale Green. He's had a couple of podiums. Can he make it a 3rd one of the series? Because Mark Kudrowski in that Mustang, it's been like what we've seen. However, Bradley Haley, what we've seen with Bradley Haley and Robert Cast earlier on in the race here, Chris, that the matter between Cast and Haley is sort of like calmed down quite a bit. There's 2.3 seconds between them. But between Mark Kudrowski and Dale Green, the gap is only 1.2, so we could see that the closest battle switching from Robert Cast and Bradley Haley to Mark Kudrowski, Dale Green and Rich Minkler in the GTD AM side of things.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody took tires there between Cast and Haley. It doesn't look like they were in the pits long enough maybe to take 4 tires, but it's Cast definitely better on this stint than the first. Haley was really good at the end of that first stint, so maybe we'll see if Haley can find something here at the end of the second stint and to make up some ground here. But Cast is pulling away a little bit more. It's now 2.7 seconds, but Green and Kudrowski right there putting on a battle for 3rd and 4th, and actually Rich Minkler now in the Porsche has made his way up onto the back bumper of Dale Green here, trying to take that 4th spot away from him in the GTDM.
Well, we did see Porsche doing Porsche things earlier on in the race, where Rich Minkler had that bit of a spill coming out of turns 5 and 6 through his own unforced error, and that can sometimes happen, especially when you're on the first couple of laps of the race. You've got cold tyres, you've got cold brakes, You just want to make sure that you get things up to temp, which is why the drivers weave from side to side to get the temperature through the carcass of the tyre, which then permeates through to the brake pads and rotors on these cars. I would normally say in the UK, it's quite funny when you guys over in the US say instead of discs for brake discs, you call them brake rotors, and we call them brake discs. So I'm having to use my analogies of American understanding and terminology, folks, for our pretty much American-based league here, American and Canadian-based league. But it's quite interesting that we see a lot of times now that with certain series that some series, like say the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America, the 992.1 GT3 Cup cars, they all use steel rotors which are vented and drilled, and then you see like the GT3 cars, they've got full carbon ceramic rotors instead, which can deal with the higher temperatures. It's always nice to see that there are, there's these little subtle nuances between a one-make series and a GT3 or GTD series where you have so many different manufacturers that everyone's trying to put one up on the other.
Oh, for sure. It comes down to the battle of the manufacturer, which is really fun to see in these classes. I remember back in the day of the old Trans Am races, which was kind of similar to maybe the IMSA series and so on, but it was kind of the same thing. It's just always fun to see what each manufacturer is going to bring to the table here. But we watch Kudrowski now. Kudrowski's really closing up on Sherburne for this second spot, right on a back bumper here. Can Mark find a way around Chris Sherburne there with only about 9 minutes left to go?
Yeah, Chris Sherburne has had a win this series as well. He actually won at Long Beach back at round 5. And his last couple of results: 6th at Road America, 7th at second at Portimao, 3rd at Bathurst, and 2nd at Jerez. But here comes Mark Kudrowski, Chris Sherburne. We're riding on board with on the Gone Racing 007 Acura, and now he tries to break the toe from Kudrowski. Wondering if Kudrowski had to back out of it. He had to go on the brakes early, but he tagged him from behind. Oh, Mark. Oh, I think he just let his foot off the brakes, and the car just rolled forward with all that momentum, and then bang, straight into the back of Sherburne. And it's given, it's like the bump and run in NASCAR, only it's just punted Sherburne forward as a direct result, as we've got 8.5 minutes left to go here at round 10. But now we're also seeing that Minkler's closing in once again on Dale Green. So yeah, I don't think this podium is quite settled yet, because if anything happens between Sherburne and Kudrowski, then you're going to see the likes of Green, the likes of Minkler. They will be able to take complete advantage of the situation. As there goes Dominic Dernberg, because Nathan Dowd is no longer leading the race. Oh, his last lap was a shocker. Let's have a look. Nathan Dowd to the outside of Rich Minkler. And let's see, round the outside he goes, rotates the car on his own. Oh, Nathan. He gathered it back up, and he lost a big amount of time. And now he is really starting to close on, and he's just got nearly a second quicker. Dominic Dernberg is leading in the 913 Composite Performances Honda. And there we see Dominic Dernberg goes, oh, hello, Nathan. Goodbye, Nathan. All in the same shot.
Yeah, a little mistake there from Dowd, kind of trying to get through traffic right there, trying to get around the Porsche of Minkler, and just got off to the outside of the corner a little too much. Looked like he got up in the dirty part of the racetrack and lost the back of it. But we now have a fight here for the GTP. Dornberg looking to pick up his first win of the season here. If he can keep Dowd behind him for about 7 minutes. He's got about a second back right now. So fortunate for Dornberg right there, but unfortunate for Dowd. We're going to have a race to the finish here, Alex.
And over the last few races, the last 3, the wins have been separated. Portimao went to Brandon Wilson, and then first went to Nathan Dowd amidst the dramas for Brandon at Mount Panorama, and then Brandon Wilson won again at Jerez. But this really means that as things go, Pat Pelchat has won 3 races. Looking at who else has won races this season, it's been between Brandon Wilson and Nathan Dowd. So this could be the case that if Dominic Dernberg gets his elbows out, does not put a foot wrong, and keeps Nathan Dowd at bay, then we could have our 4th overall GTP race winner here at this series, as we're on board with the 07 Sector 5 provided by Haley Agency Cadillac V-Series GTP car, as they roar down the backstretch, getting passed through on Samuel de Oliveira. Chris Sherburn, in the meantime, is swapping places a la musical chairs with Mark Kudrowski, who's now up into 2nd spot. There's Dale Green. We've got a 4-way scrap. Look, 4 GTD AMs. As you can see, well, Chris Sherburn flashing the headlights. Dale Green nearly misses his braking marker into turn 7. And there is Rich Minkler. So we're going to have a look here. This is through into turn 1. Kudrowski to the outside. And he's still... Right, let's have a look. Through 2. And, might have been a little bit of netcode maybe involved there. Didn't really see any much damage between the pair. Kudrowski to the outside. And then they're going to be going through into the chicane. Kudrowski. I mean, to be honest with you, too wide into that chicane was never going to go. But Mark Kudrowski just made it work. And Chris Sherburn, I can understand his frustration. But if you have the opportunity to take advantage of a situation like that, then well played by Mark Kudrowski, because he kept it around the outside of turn 1. He was not going to give way to Chris Sherburn whatsoever, because it's points on the board on offer. Meantime, 4.5 minutes to go. Dernberg versus Dowd. Down into turn 7 here on lap number 43 of the race. We've got... probably by the next time they come around to cross the stripe, they're 65% of the way through the lap. The gap is about 0.5 of a second. So it is now going to be heading up to turn 12 and 13 very, very shortly. Into the 90 right they go. Gap is 0.4, maybe even less. As we get the rear view camera from the rear diffuser of Dominic Dernberg and the 913 Composite Performances Honda 06 GTP, and out of turn number 14, here comes Nathan Dowd. The gap is closing. 1:17.0 versus 1:17.0, matched on lap time. Here could be the move that could decide the race lead. Down to the inside, Dernberg round the outside, keeps the throttle pinned, and the Acura stays in front for the meantime. Through into turn number 4, they will go very shortly into the right-hander. And Dominic Dernberg doing a great job of keeping Nathan Dowd at bay. We've got a race on our hands, and I think we've probably got the best part of 3 to 4 laps of racing remaining here at Indianapolis. Down the back stretch, the long run into turn 7. Dowd going right, then going left as they go into turn 7 once again. And still Dominic Dernberg parking it on the nose, turning the car in on a nickel, and he is keeping the number 07 caddy from Nathan Dowd from getting past him at the moment as they go through to the top right hand part of the circuit. Out of turn 11 they go again, and into turn 12 Dominic Dernberg might have probably 3 laps to go. That's going to be probably about 7.2 miles of racing left. Out of turn number 14 we go again, and it's going to be the run to the line. They will cross the stripe now. We will have 3 laps to go, because they're, well, no, we might be very close. I just did a 1:18, so we could be very close on time. It might be 2 laps to go, so next time around might be the white flag lap. We will keep an eye on the timing on the clock, as well. Dominic Dernberg, he's had opportunity after opportunity, and now here is his chance to take a win as they come out of turn 6, out of the chicane. We ride on board with the front splitter cam of Nathan Dowd down the back stretch, heading down into turn 7, down to the inside here at turn 7. The Cadillac finally breaks the deadlock, but he runs a little bit deep. Can Dernberg get through? They nearly make contact through out of turn number 8. And Nathan Dowd on lap 45 retakes the race lead of what was a great defensive showing by Composite Performances Dominic Dernberg in the 913 Acura.
A fantastic battle right there. Dernberg did everything he could, tried to block off Dowd, but Dowd just a little bit too strong. Got up alongside right there, and Dominic tried to make a block right there, but it was just a little bit too late. Dowd back to the point, and he's already almost 2 seconds away.
He crosses the line, and his last lap was a 1:17.7. We are on the final lap of this race. White flag should be in the air for this one. So Nathan Dowd leading. Mo Islam, I think he hit his, he's had the most off tracks out of anybody, so probably what's happened to Mo Islam, unless he's had damage, because he's been on his pit stall for nearly 30 seconds. So what has happened to the number 91 in this dying stages of the race as the leaders make their way down the backstretch for what will more than likely be the final time? 50% of lap number 46 is in the books. Mark Kudrowski is quite a way back at the moment. Yeah, Mo Islam, I don't think he's going to make it to the end of this race, or he'll be classified in third and be all the way down the order as we keep an eye on our race leader. Nathan Dowd from Sector 5, Haley Agency. It is going to be through into turn 12 as the helicam shot shows from a great vantage point through out of turn number 13. It is going to be tight to the wire. Will it be the checkered flag this time around out of the final corner? It is going to be the checkered. It is going to be another win. Round 10 goes the way of Sector 5 by Haley Agency's Nathan Dowd, who picks up his second win of the series, extends his lead. Great work by Dominic Turnberg, as he will pick up another second place, keeping him in the title hunt. But Walker Carroll will take his second successive victory of the season. His first one came in at Road America at round 6 back on December 8th. And it will be after Road America, Jerez, and now it's going to be 4 in a row. Muito parabéns, Samuel de Oliveira. He is the most successful, winningest driver, taking 4 race wins this season in GTD AM. And let's have a look here. It's going to be another victory for Robert Cast. He's taken 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, he's taken, this is going to be 4, 5. This is going to be win number 6 for the man from Fury Sim Sport. But in a row, Samuel de Oliveira cannot be touched. Robert Cast wins again, but by golly, did Bradley Haley give him something to fight for. Robert Cast, that is 6 wins in the books in GTD Pro as the number 42 takes the stripe first. Congratulations to all our winners: Nathan Dowd GTP, Walker Carroll LMP2, Robert Cast GTD, and Samuel de Oliveira in GTD. And let's bring you through the final results as the calm after the storm here at Indianapolis has started to come to its inevitable end. Nathan Dowd takes a win in the series and continues to extend his lead in the overall GTP standings. He wins by 2.4 seconds ahead of Dominic Turnberg, who was so close to becoming our 4th different GTP and overall race winner this season. Walker Carroll takes another win in LMP2, finishing a lap down off of the leaders, but 1.7 seconds ahead of Kinian Richardson, who continues to extend his lead in the series in LMP2. Mo Islam classified 3rd in the end, 3 laps down, and finishing amidst the GTP cars, having to take a 2-minute and 16-second pit stop towards the end of the race on lap 43. Robert Cast takes his 6th win in the GTD side of things, and by my reckoning, where is he at the moment? He is leading by 7 points. His lead is going to be expanded, but the man who is going to jump, Carter Kundinger. Carter, you better get your backside ready for Sebring next week. It is going to be Bradley Haley that's going to move up to 2nd in the standings. Samuel de Oliveira will now become the new points leader in GTD AM. He finishes ahead of Mark Kudrowski by 8.7 seconds. Chris Sherburn, another P3 for the 007 Gonbrook Racing Acura, or Honda over here in the UK, NSX GT3. Dale Green, 2 seconds away from another podium, another 3rd place finish for the Yellow Submarine. And Rich Minkler bringing up the rear of the field in 12th overall, but still, nevertheless, for the 908 Martini liveried Porsche, it was a great run, nevertheless. Okay, after that, it is time to go to our post-race interview show here on the JP Broadcasting Network for round 10 out of 14 for the 2025-2026 Autobahn Sports Car Challenge. Let's bring in, first of all, our winner in the GTDs. I'm going to deviate a little bit here, Chris, because I want to find out a question that needs to be answered. Let's bring in our GTD winner, Robert Cast. Rob, good evening, buddy. First question, 0x, yay or nay, based on current history for tonight?
I did it.
Finally,
Yeah.
I did see Caster's response in the Discord saying, I agree with no, in like
Yeah.
no uncertain terms. But finally, you broke the duck, you got the 0x, and that's going to give you an additional 2 points. But still, a good race between you and Bradley on that one. I mean, it was kind of like Chris was saying earlier on in the broadcast that maybe you were toying with him, but even though there were just the two of you, you really were both so closely matched.
He was there. His Mustang not only had power, but it could put it down. And he was doing a really good job of it. There were some corners where I could see him really pull ahead, and then there were some corners where I had the advantage. Um, that Mustang was hooking and booking. So my hats off to him on that run. He did a good job. I mean, he got into position. I raced him a little bit, but the tires just weren't really holding for me. So I relinquished it real quick and followed him, drafted him for a bit, kept it tight, and I wouldn't say I toyed with him, but I mean Bradley's fast. Don't get me wrong. I figured since I'm behind him, I might as well just save a little bit of fuel and try to save these tires so I can get some fresh ones on at the stop. And I took lefts, and it worked out.
Yeah, well, I mean, also considering the fact you've actually set a bit of a precedent because you're the most successful driver in terms of race wins, I think, this season out of all of the classes combined. So let's go through them. Road Atlanta, Motegi, Mosport, Road America. Then we had Mount Panorama. Now we've had Jerez. And now you've done 3 back-to-back here at... So you've won 7 out of the 10 races so far. Pretty good strike rate, wouldn't you agree? Especially when the fact of we didn't see the GT Dynamics livery at the beginning of the season, did we? We saw the good old Marlboro McLaren tribute livery on that Aston Martin.
Yeah, the guys took their sweet time. Actually, Mark Kodrowski is the one that did our paint for our cars, and we just it just was one of those things. It got delayed a little bit, and so I just grabbed something to look good, the old Marlboro, and sent it with it. But yeah, now we got the paint, and actually we do have some new news. I'll share with you guys when you're all ready for that. Towards the closing of the broadcast here. But yeah, things are going good over at GT Dynamics.
Sounds good. I mean, they've definitely been doing some great job. I mean, especially with the recent efforts by Ross and the team at the Sim Racing Republic Sports Car Championship, which was a bit of a crazy one, which I had the pleasure of commentating on, and I know you were watching because you were in chat. But next week we've got our penultimate round of the Autobahn Endurance Cup. We go to Sebring for 90 minutes. How are you feeling with the Aston Martin about that then?
I was on the fence about this car, and then I came around like at a couple tracks like Mo Sport, and it was feeling really good at Road America, and it's been a little bit of a struggle. I haven't spent much time dialing in any sets or nothing, so the car is what it is, and that's what I've been driving. And normally I'm a shock guy, and I dial in the dampers and stuff like that. I spend a lot of time looking at what is that Cosworth Pi, and it's a real sweet telemetry data gathering app, but I haven't done much of that lately. Mostly just too much work. Like when you were commentating for the SRR race, I was driving actually, and I didn't message when I was driving, but I was driving to go do some side work and stuff like that. So I've been quite busy and haven't had time to sit down. So what's working is working, and it's just getting me by.
Exactly. You gotta do something to pay the bills, right, Rob?
Oh yeah.
But listen, buddy, congratulations on the W. Great to see you and Bradley running so close together. Before we let you go, anyone in particular you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Of course. yes, GT Dynamics, our small little team, we're out there doing our thing, and all the guys. There's 6 of us out there, and we're just having a good time doing it. Um, Composite always. Carter for putting on the league. You guys as well for doing the broadcast. But we also have some new sponsors. We have Muradness, who's supplying our team with Aura Pro racing gloves. And we have iRace Planner, which is an awesome. Um, it came in handy for the 24. Like we built our stints, and it was just amazing to use, and it kept us organized. It was beautiful, and it's a good piece of software to be using. And then Ross wanted me to throw in Booth Automotive for all their support. It's his him and his pop shop up there in Canada. So yeah, thanks to our sponsors.
Great to hear that Mr. Morad himself is giving you guys some well-needed equipment to help you out in the early foray of GT Dynamics. Is a small history but successful one nevertheless. Rob, thank you so much for your time in the post-race interview show. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the 90-minute race at Sebring. Well done tonight.
All right, thank you guys. You guys take care. Have a good night.
So a big thank you there to our GTD winner, Robert Cast. It wasn't much between him and Bradley Haley after the race concluded, but more to the point, let's bring in our overall winner. Once again, it is victory lane for the man from Sector 5, because he was looking for that first win. Everyone's been, when Brandon and Powell in the early parts of the season had been battling away, and then we see Brandon have his big two wrecks at Mount Panorama, and then all of a sudden it's a case of, okay, let's make the best of it. Dominic was hoping for that win, but you just got him with a couple of laps to go, and you pick up another win, and that must be a good feeling for you.
Yeah. I mean, Dominic's he's been around this league forever, longer than I have. He's a good racer. He's always fun to battle with, and yeah, he wasn't making it easy on me for sure, and he shouldn't, going for the win there with a few laps to go. So, yeah, I was struggling to I was thinking I could get a run on him because it looked like he was struggling with tires on the last corner. So I figured I'd get a run on him in the turn 1, but just couldn't quite get the overspeed on him down the front straight. So once I had a run on him there, going down that little middle straight, I figured this was probably my best chance just to dive it in on him. And it was a little tight there. I think I went a little deep, but he gave me just enough room and made it stick. So yeah, it was fun. Small field, but still fun to battle with him. So yeah, it's always unfortunate when we don't got Brandon and Pat and them running with us, but we'll take the points, and hopefully they'll be back, and we got 4 or 5 rounds left here. And points are going to be interesting, so hopefully they can make the last few rounds here, and we'll see what happens.
Well done on the victory tonight here at the Brickyard. Of course, we go to Sebring. Very different circuit, very tight, very technical, very flowing. And it's going to be 90 minutes. That's going to be a tougher test, isn't it?
Yeah. Sebring's Sebring's great track. Everyone's really good at it, so it's going to be tough. But yeah, double points, 90 minutes. So we'll give it our best chance.
Well, Nathan, congratulations on the win tonight here at round 10 of the series. Before we let you go, anybody you want to thank in particular?
Yeah, just Carter and Dominic filling in for him while he's away, and putting the league on and all that, and just the Sector 5 guys that we're running with, and everyone else coming out each week in this. It's a good group of guys to run with. So, like I said, if we get more of them to finish the season strong, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well done on the win today, Nathan, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time at round 11 at Sebring.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Well, good to hear from a couple of our race winners tonight here, Chris. Nathan Dowd, an unforced error. He just said, well, I did it on my own, and it was nice to see him battle against Dominic, and then Robert and Bradley Haley giving us, plenty of things to talk about. It was an interesting, lengthy race in terms of, the amount of battles that were going on, but still winning is winning, and getting the points on the board and the victories under your belt count towards the championship. So I'm really looking forward to Sebring in 2 weeks' time, buddy.
It's always Sebring's always exciting. We've covered a couple different races there this year, and it's been some great battles. Hopefully, actually, we had a small field here tonight with only 12 cars, but they put on one heck of a show for sure, between Nathan and Dominique and Robert and Bradley and Sherburne, everybody in the GTM class. So just some fantastic racing here tonight. But I am looking forward to getting to Sebring for 90 minutes here in a couple weeks.
Yep. So that really rounds out our coverage of what has been an interesting race here at the Brickyard at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for round 10 of the 2025 Autobahn 2025-2026 Autobahn Sports Car Challenge. Well, the series moves on to its final stop on the tour in North America, as we will head to the circuit just 70 miles south of Orlando, as the Sebring International Raceway will host round 11 of the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge, but with it will also be the third out of 4 incursions for the Autobahn Endurance Cup, as the Floridian circuit will see GTP, LMP2, GTD and GTD AM in action for 90 minutes. Up here in the JPB broadcast booth, it's been Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Murphy with you all the way through. Thank you so much to everyone tuning in. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because there is plenty more racing from the sim racing world that will be populated here on the JP Broadcasting Network. Until next time, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, well, you better glow flat out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye for now.